Hello, I'm sorry I had you a little bit abandoned in the last few days because last week I was Monday Barcelona, Tuesday Anfield, Wednesday Amsterdam, Thursday Manchester for the BBC, Friday London, Saturday Biggleswade, we had trials, and Sunday Barcelona. So it was a busy time last week, and I'm just kind of catching up with other stuff. So let's start. Aritra Bose say, what's the latest on the European ban for Manchester City? We understand that the conclusions could be published this week, and it will be interesting to follow it all very closely. So once that comes out and a punishment gets suggested, if they think they've been doing wrong, then basically we'll have to see what the appeal, City will appeal, and what happens with that. So we are talking about a long process. It won't happen, of course, whatever punishment there is, it won't happen this summer. And Manchester City insists that they've done nothing wrong. So it will be good to follow it very closely, and I'll do that. Elton Pitt is asking, with Griezmann potentially joining Barcelona, what does the future hold for Dembele and Coutinho? It's been an interesting 48 hours, because 24 hours before Griezmann announced that he was leaving, you had Simeone actually talking as if he was not leaving at all, as if whatever decision was taken a day after would have surprised him, because he was talking about Griezmann being part of the project. He's the captain. I don't see him wanting to go. And of course, a couple of months ago, the chairman of Atletico Madrid, Cerezo, was talking about 3,000% he was definitely going to stay at Atletico Madrid, and today he's talking about being disappointed. Well, it's not much of a surprise, is it, though? Because Griezmann, of course, has a buyout clause that gets reduced to 120 million euros the 1st of July from 200 million. Why would you do that? He earns 23 million euros a year, which means that it's a lot of money to pay, and whoever goes, the team that goes to next, he goes next to, will pay him that. Even if that means, for instance, let's say it's Barcelona, that's what we think where he's going, but no sign of it. Not from Barcelona, not from anywhere else. Nobody's confirmed anything yet, but we think it's going to be Barcelona. Now, they could pay maybe 70 million, and the rest on bonuses that are easy to comply, like, if he drinks 2 glasses of water a day or something like that. Do you know what I mean? He won't lose a single penny. He will earn those 23 million euros at Barcelona. And what that means for Coutinho and Dembele, for Dembele, nothing. They're waiting for him. They expect him to get better, to be more professional, so that he will get less injuries. So one more year trying to convince him that he's doing the wrong things, nutrition, rest, a lot of things that he should improve on. Coutinho, on the other hand, is one of those that he's not on the market. That's what Barcelona is saying. His agent is saying he doesn't want to go. But I think if somebody came with 100 million and an offer that made him an important player, perhaps the most important player in this other club, then we're talking. And everybody will talk, and everybody perhaps will agree eventually something. But that has not happened. I think Coutinho feels that it's not happening at Barcelona for him. It's going from starting really well to going really bad. And I'm not sure how you turn that around when Griezmann is coming in. So everybody will keep an ear on the ground, and we'll see what happens during the summer. Stiga is saying, how will Atletico Madrid approach the rebuild in the summer? What a rebuild that will be, because Juanfran, the fullback, Felipe Luis, the other fullback, right and left, Lucas Hernandez, of course, is going, and Savic may even go as well, and Rodri, because he sees that everybody's disappearing, and Manchester City are willing to pay the 70 million euros of his buyout clause. Basically, he's considering his options too. So it is a time for Simeone to lead all this and to bring players of quality, to use the money well. It won't be easy, because this team was a unit. It was formed in a way that it was solid, that everybody knew what everybody wanted. They've been together for a long while. It's about starting all that over, and it won't be easy. And perhaps you won't see the best Atletico Madrid in the next year or two while they get it right. Because they're talking about Dybala, who may cost 100 million, Juventus may sell him for that. They're talking about Icardi, a striker that will compete with Morata and Costa. It'd be strange, but one of the two, Morata or Costa, will have to go. I think they want to keep Morata, so interesting if Icardi comes. We're talking about players that have got strong personalities and they will have to adapt to the style of Simeone, and that's not easy. Eun is saying, do you think Manchester United have any realistic chance of signing Koulibaly this summer? Are top players even interested in joining the club? That's an interesting one because Koulibaly is obviously a target for Manchester United, not just for Manchester United. Napoli are saying 120, 130 million, but generally they don't want to sell. That figure, it's a figure that they may sit down on the table for, but it comes accompanied with the line they don't want to sell. So they're not in a rush to do so, and it'll have to be for a lot of money. Now, Manchester United, will have to look for players that suit the style that Solskjaer wants. And that means players that are in the Premier League already, some of the best take the top 6 away, some of the best after that, and they will have to be clever in the market in Europe to build in the medium term, to make sure that an impact with the youngsters coming through as well, an impact takes place within a year or two from now. And Koulibaly will want to go to a place that can win the league. Why leave Napoli otherwise? He earns enough money, he's very well considered, why jump? So are top players interested in going to Manchester United? Solskjaer will tell you that a lot of big names or agents are suggesting that their clients may want to come. A different story is that if those clients are the best players around, and I don't think they are, but that's not what Solskjaer wants anyway. He just wants players that suit what he wants to do with the team. So interesting times ahead for Manchester United. He's asking Eun as well, why has Ander Herrera been allowed to leave Manchester United when he was one of the club's best midfield options, and performances often improve with him in the team. And it has to do with what PSG want to pay, with the fact that he wanted to leave, as much as with Manchester United not being able to convince him. They could have done so with a new contract, but I think things were left quite late because Ander Herrera was not in a rush, and now he's going to PSG for a lot of money. Bueno Rufus says, how do you think the Champions League final will go? Two teams that will go at each other, physical, intense, will have time to rest, of course, with 3 weeks before the final arrives, with a better attack, I would say, and defence from Liverpool than Spurs, but Spurs compete like no other team in the world. So they will maximise the potential. I think it's going to be very, very tight, very tight. Think of the second half in Anfield of those when those two teams met. It was much more equal, and I think Spurs, who develop the games, depending what happens, they're able to identify what was wrong in the previous one and get better because they've got a very good coaching staff, of course, will know that second half, if I'm not mistaken, it was very good for Spurs, and they will try to continue on that fashion. Very, very equal. Liverpool, in my eyes, are clearly the favourites, though, but you've seen this season, anything is possible. It does feel, interestingly enough, I heard from Spurs fans that they're happy to get into the final. Liverpool want to win it. There's a difference in that. I just think that that's not reflected in the coaching staff or in the players. Both sets want to win it, of course. Deepware is saying, what's the potential domino effect if Pogba and De Ligt are unable to get the moves due to Raiola's ban? They will get the moves. De Ligt, of course, is going to possibly Barcelona. There's been meetings between Barcelona and Mino Raiola in previous weeks, and also Barcelona and Ajax. They're willing to pay about 70 million euros. Ajax are happy with that, and it's now down to the player where he wants to go to. Bayern Munich, PSG, and Liverpool wanted him, but I feel that he's close, or that's what Barcelona feel, that they're close to get him. There is a cup final to be played, so I don't know when the announcement will be made, but in the next couple of weeks, we should know everything about that one. By the way, I seen Le Parisien saying that PSG wanted Bale, Isco, and Kroos. I can tell you that's not true. PSG won none of those three players. Not the three of them, but individually, they don't want them either. Mayas is asking, how do you think what happened in Liverpool will affect Messi going forward? Messi wants the best players around him. But I think what everybody is found out, something that people in the club were already realising. Football is going at a different pace to the pace that Barcelona wants to play the game. If Barcelona had adapted to the new modern game, they would look like Manchester City. That pace, that youth, that energy, that dynamism, they don't have that. Now, they're going to get some of that with the Ligt, if he comes, with the Young, and with Griezmann. But I still feel there are things, that there's a culture within the side that requires a little bit of shake-up. It can be solved. It probably will be with Valverde, but it has to do with challenging players. So they're looking for a shadow of Alba. They're looking for a left back. It could be Felipe Luis of Atletico Madrid. They're looking for somebody that can allow Busquets to rest. The Young can play there. And of course, they want to challenge the centre-backs with the arrival of De Ligt. All that would happen, but there's more that needs to be done. In the top games, what Barcelona have been lacking is the ability to change the dynamism, the direction of the game. If the game is escaping them, they haven't had the physicality and the intensity to recover that control. They haven't been able to do that. So at Anfield, you could see it was going away from them, but they just don't have the strength and the dynamism and the youthfulness that you need to stop that getting away from you. So it will be 3 massive additions, a team that is very good and favourites to win the league, but in the Champions League, it will require that team to get that, where football is going now, that flexibility tactically for sure, which they're working on, but that dynamism, that youthfulness that Barcelona has been missing in recent times. Interesting question from Marco. He says, with Liverpool and City getting 97, 98 points in the Premier League, is it becoming like any other or other European leagues where the same 2 or 3 teams fight for the title every year? And I'll say Manchester City will be favourites to win it in the next few years as well, with Liverpool trying to fight them off. And I don't think any other team will be able to match them or get close to them. Does that mean that the league is poor? It's a Mickey Mouse league. Only 2 teams. It's like the Scottish League, as some were accusing La Liga to be. Every time I heard that, I always said the same thing, which is actually what it was happening in La Liga is that there were 2 teams that were amazing. They were superior to the rest, but to the rest of Europe, not just to the rest of La Liga. That means, of course, that Real Madrid and Barcelona were ahead of the game, but the rest were in a bad bunch. That's why Spanish teams have won 22 out of the last 30 European titles. And you can see how Chelsea and Arsenal have made it into the Europa League final. That doesn't make them bad teams, does it? It's just that City is at another level. And we will realise all that when Pep Guardiola disappears, when Manchester City goes a different direction perhaps. But right now, it's not just money that what takes you there. It's a top coach, the best coach in the world, that takes you there. And somebody like Klopp and Liverpool have managed to keep that pace, the same way that Real Madrid, especially in the Mourinho, were able to do that as well. That's extraordinary. 2 extraordinary teams at each other in the same league. Enjoy that. Doesn't mean the league is poor. Javier Pineda, who is a regular here, is asking, will Ericsson leave or stay at Spurs if they win or lose the Champions League? Why hasn't he renewed his contract? Because he's waiting for Real Madrid to confirm their interest. Florentino Perez wants Ericsson. Zidane wants Pogba. I don't understand why. It doesn't suit. Basically, they're taking one player who's not even the best player of a team that finished 6th in the Premier League. It doesn't make any sense. 160 million for him and to pay him 20-odd million euros net a year, it just doesn't make sense. So Zidane wants to reaffirm his authority at the team and say, but this is what I want, so this is what you should go and get. I think Florentino will look like he's trying that, but perhaps eventually will go for Ericsson, and I think that's what Ericsson is waiting for. Thomas Paulus is saying, is there any truth to rumours that Aubameyang's transfer to Real Madrid and Barcelona's interest in Lacazette? No, neither of them are wanted by both teams. Top players, of course, but they're not after either of them. So Arsenal will have those 2 top strikers for another season at least. Colin Sotieno says, who is your favourite for the Europa League? 2 teams that are not perfect. I read Jonathan Wilson and I agree on his assessment on Chelsea in that Sarri hasn't got the players to do what he wants to do, and it depends on what Hazard does. Meanwhile, because Chelsea, you don't really know what they're trying to do. And I disagree when he talks about Arsenal, saying that he doesn't know what Unai is trying to do. What Unai is trying to do is add layers to the side. It will make much more sense as time goes on because he will have the players that he wants, but he will get more training sessions for the team to do what he wants them to do. What does he want them to do? To be flexible. not to look always the same, to adapt a little bit to the team and to the circumstances to the rival and to the circumstances of his own team. That's why it doesn't look like he has a personality. I think it does, but the personality is flexibility, if you like. So there you are, a little bit of an extended version of Ask Guillem. I'm going to have now my coffee, enjoy the sunshine before he goes, and keep working, because still 3 massive weeks of football, and I think we're all looking forward to them. So subscribe, etc. See you soon. See you next week. Bye-bye.